And here we are heading towards temple number 2. There's the dogs baying for my blood as always. And we're in this kind of little village and it's now raining, you know, dogs and rains and all sorts of things. Now, the temple, I believe, is this way with the helping hand of a few of the locals. They're pointing that way. So we, due to the rain, are going to have to seek shelter. And I'm with the pigs. Look at this. Hello, Mr. Piggy. How are you, darling? On the whole, I'm pretty good. Look at that. You see? And he's got his chum over here. And the rain is properly coming in now. So this is where I have to shelter for a while. But we'll be back on that track again very soon. And seeing as I'm trapped in the rain, we may as well have a look at the basic life here. I mean, here, you see, is the toilet and washroom. And they won't mind me filming this because this is what you see everywhere. Now, here is a tub. Now, you may think that's a bath. No, it's way too high. This is where you collect water, you see. You put the water in there, and then there's a little stall here where you would... you know, put your pot, and then you wash yourself. You just throw the water over your body, and this is your shower. And in there, there's a small toilet, and you get the water from the rain. You see, as it's raining at the moment, and your water collects in here, and then it's transferred into this, and then you have your flushing system for your toilet, and also your washing system for yourself. Now the rain has abated some, so we're making tracks forward. The village that we've gone through is behind us, and over there is a hut, and I think he's a woodman of some sort, or maybe he also got pigs. But often, you know, there's diversifications. It's not just one trade that one would have. Now then, you see, now we've had the helpful pointer of a couple of the locals sort of pointing this way when I say the word prasat. And we know it's somewhere this way. And this is the adventure. It's starting to kick in, isn't it? And have a look at these rice fields. Gold, they're this lovely sort of golden yellowy green, and they are just beautiful. We only have the one track, and it's this one right here. So, onward. And along here lays an ancient temple. And it's deeper into the jungle environment we go. Now, what is interesting, you see, is I can see through here water lilies, you see. Now, this well could be one of those U-shaped moats that surround a temple. So that is a good sign. Water lilies, great sign when you're hunting temples. I'm leaving my footprints in the sand because, as always, there's not an awful lot of signs. And there's still no actual sign of the temple itself. And one always hopes it's round the next bend, but alas not. Let's keep going. Developing quite the sweat. And as we do, we turn the bend and there it is. Can you see it? Just through there. And here it is, Lake Neang. And wow! It is quite incredible because what you're probably not picking up on the microphone is this continuous sound of rolling thunder in the background. It's so atmospheric. And because it's just rained, one gets that lovely scent, you know, a bit like freshly cut grass. And that's because, you know, there's some moisture gone into the jungle. Can you hear that? That's the rolling thunder. I hope you picked that up. And on top of those two, we have the third, which is the birds twittering away. It is a fantastic sight, this one. And as you can probably tell, very much a forgotten temple. Now then, there's something we can note just from here. Look over there. You see those two features there? Well, I've never seen anything like it. One's a blind doorway and it was once a room. And one would immediately think, well, that's where the entrance is. But it isn't, because this is the entrance. And what I need to show you next has an awful lot to do with that. And next, I feel it's only right if I show you, as I often do, the size of this thing. And there's only one way to do that, and that's for me to bugger off. So here I go. Now then, we would think, as we say, that that would be the entrance, but it isn't, because this doorway is facing east, and that is the correct way. Now, as I come up here, you will notice there's these masonry blocks on the floor. And what they once were, I believe, is stairs, because it just only makes sense. Because here at the base, I have to ascend by clambering, which is something I absolutely love doing. Clambering is reserved for children all too much, but a jolly good clamber is, I think, maybe the start of an adventure. And now that I'm up here, I can see something which is quite simply amazing. The space here only leads itself to one conclusion, and that is the statue that stood here once, the god that dwelled here, was absolutely enormous. And here it is set against that slate grey sky, and it is quite simply remarkable. I mean, I keep expecting Knights Templar to come galloping round here on their horses, because it looks like something from an Arthurian legend. Held up up on the mount here, this ancient place. And these two stones here, they could be, two mighty gravestones of kings or Lord knows what. But the mind just runs rampant in a place like this. And it's into this room we're going to go last, because I want to show you what's over here first. And this is the remnants of that room. And what would have been in here, without doubt, is records of some sort, religious texts and probably taxation records, because these places were very much, involved with money, as every single church in the world is. Nothing changes on this planet, it just mutates. And what is interesting here, see these large masonry blocks, well, they've sort of been gathered together by putting in these sort of the basic bricks, and it says something that they're both still standing. And as we pan round, you see this line here. That is the remnants of a moat. Now, do you remember me saying before that I spotted lilies? And that's a good sign when hunting temples. Well, that was just a pond. But if this was full, there would be lilies in it. And this is the front or back wall of this room. And isn't it incredible to think, to wonder what it is that once laid in here. Now what I need to do is take you into the temple itself. Look at these mighty beams that have fallen, because I promise you, this is just amazing. I hope it comes across on the screen. In the distance, we can see a bit of a mountain. Were they replicating that mountain? I guarantee there's another temple up there. I promise you, I absolutely promise you there is. Now then, I'm clambering up. Here we go, as you saw me do before. And look, wow, this is huge. Honestly, it's way bigger than, oh God, I fell backwards, sorry about that. It's way bigger than you would imagine. Whatever was in here was absolutely enormous. And I mean enormous. There's no hyperbole. It must have been absolutely huge. Now this is one of the most difficult shots I've ever had to set up. The camera is balanced at such a precarious angle, it took some very fine tuning. But myself making these videos, I have one primary objective, and that is to do them justice. Getting clicks and those lovely comments, thank you each and every one of you, are all an added bonus, one gratefully received. But the first and most important thing is to do these temples their fair dues. And to do that, I must get into this pit. Right, here we, oh gosh. Do you know what I should have done? I should have checked for snakes. Right, yes, okay. You see, I get too carried away. That's my fault. But that's maybe what drives me on. Because when you find something like this, it is absolutely remarkable. Because this pit is huge. This is where the statue would have been placed, and it would have been enormous. Now, as to which god dwelled here, we don't know. But what we can say by playing the odds is it was most likely Shiva or Vishnu. And there's something else we can draw from this, and that is to have a statue that was so big. This temple was very prominent in this area. It was a temple of great importance, and it would have been placed in a small town or an exceptionally large village. But of course, as we know, walking in, there's hardly anybody here. The fields are just empty. Every single one of those people that came here and worshipped and prayed and looked for blessing and guidance have all disappeared. And we won't even know which god dwelled here. But I'll tell you this is an absolutely amazing temple. It is just so, so beautiful. And we finish on another quirky camera angle, because this it demands your respect, this temple. The whole point of these bizarre camera angles is because the whole thing's been elevated so you could see it for far and wide. I'm looking out at that mountain that is just covered with jungle. There's small flecks of rain hitting me, and there's still the distant roll of thunder. I fall in love with temples. I really do. But this one has touched me so greatly because it has this aura about it. It's just such an incredible place to be. It's like returning to somewhere I know and I have fond memories of. It's great to be back. But I've never been here before. And that is an emotion I'm not familiar with, but I am now. I very much hope you've enjoyed this video, and as always, I ask you to like, subscribe and comment, and if by chance a few coins could be sprinkled into my Patreon account to help me build this library, as always, patreon.com/temples. This is one exceptionally happy Mr. B, wishing you absolutely nothing but the very best. You take good care.